Meet Scarlett Blake. In the digital ecosystem, she operates as the ultimate radiant node. She is a globally dominant pop icon, but underneath her flawless aesthetic, her mind processes the world entirely through the lens of computational scale and digital metrics. Her academic hardware is staggering. She graduated from Stanford at 16 and secured a Turing Award at 21. Her breakthrough was the creation of an effective computing app, a piece of software capable of accurately translating complex human emotions into readable data for the autistic spectrum. This interconnected matrix shows the exact scope of her algorithmic reach. When you track variables ranging from localized digital feeds to crop failures and neural pathways, you create a sprawling web of emotional telemetry. But this massive scale triggers a glitch, the narcissistic feedback loop. Her focus drifts from genuine human connection, locking on to the raw optimization of metrics. She points this optimization at the music industry, writing algorithms that monitor smartwatch and earbud analytics globally. She maps the emotional frequencies of 1 billion listeners simultaneously, deploying subtle adjustments to perfectly hack the emotional responses of distinct cultural clusters. Biological hardware has physical limits. When a human node optimizes solely for digital scale, they eventually hit a thermal limit. The drive for infinite bandwidth starves the system of its actual humanity. The contrast between high-altitude data and physical reality comes sharply into focus at a downtown loft. Amelia is celebrating her 21st birthday, a modest analog gathering of real people. Fresh off a major magazine interview, Scarlett bypasses the local network controls of the loft entirely. She projects a massive, high-definition cerulean blue hologram of herself into the center of the room. Her booming, synthesized voice completely drowns out the celebration. The room's gravity instantly shifts. Guests abandon their conversations and swarm the projection, desperate for selfies with the pop icon. Amelia is left standing completely alone by the punch bowl, entirely ignored at her own party. Amelia walks to the breaker panel and manually cuts the power. The giant avatar vanishes. Once the loft empties, she delivers a terrifyingly calm assessment. Scarlett traded her soul for popularity. Amelia permanently ends their friendship. For Scarlett, losing her only remaining anchor to the analog world acts as a brute force attack on her cognitive firewall. Her highly optimized logic loops freeze, initiating severe system instability. Fleeing the loft in her autonomous luxury vehicle, Scarlett enters a dissociative state. The untouchable pop icon disintegrates. A violent, deafening static roars through her mind as the edges of her vision pixelate and blur. By the time she reaches her subterranean garage, the system crash is physical. She collapses onto the cold concrete, retching as her body attempts to physically purge the toxic pride poisoning her system. She pulls ruthlessly at her meticulously styled hair, desperate for the unedited data of physical pain to ground her failing logic. Curled on the sterile floor, she completely surrenders her root access. She stops trying to outcalculate her self-loathing, hits absolute zero, and sends a blind, unformatted ping into the dark, begging the system's founder for help. The founder answers. The automated darkness of the garage is pierced by an entity named Veritas. This towering figure of high-frequency golden and sapphire light manifests directly within Scarlett's corrupted local environment, bypassing her failing physical sensors to reach the identity kernel. The software of the human soul requires severe conditions for a kernel-level spiritual reboot. A complete collapse of the ego is the necessary prerequisite to rewrite the code. Veritas initiates an audit of the soul. She presses her fingers against Scarlett's forehead, flooding her consciousness with an unfiltered, high-definition data stream. Scarlett is forced to viscerally experience the emotional telemetry of everyone she has ever manipulated, from their exact perspective. This diagram visualizes the macro effects of her vanity. Scarlett feels the localized despair of friends she discarded for better metrics, and the crushing, hollow inadequacy of millions of young girls around the globe, starving themselves to match a heavily edited, mathematically impossible standard. The weight of this global suffering is a physical load, threatening to delete her spirit. The audit reaches a terminal load. Just as her spirit faces total erasure under the weight of this debt, the data stream shifts. The Logos, a flawless, zero-error build, intervenes.
He steps into the audit, acting as a sinkhole to mathematically absorb every bit of her system entropy. Veritas installs the Damascus Protocol. This quiet patch meticulously uncouples Scarlett's core identity from the childhood trauma written into her early sectors. The desperate survival algorithms that drove her to dominate others are uninstalled and replaced by a deep structural piece. Scarlett is not slated for deletion. Instead, she is officially commissioned. Her new operational directive is to leverage her massive global bandwidth to broadcast the light directly into the corrupted culture substrate. With her internal static gone, Scarlett attempts an immediate network sync. She sends a direct holoping to Amelia, eager to explain her divine reboot and miraculous visitation. Amelia answers, but her firewall remains fully active. To a node that has been repeatedly abused by narcissism, Scarlett's breathless story about an angel delivering a personal divine update sounds exactly like another self-centered ego loop. Amelia refuses the apology, commands Scarlett never to call back, and kills the feed. The connection collapses, severed entirely at the root level. This diagram illustrates the mechanics of the latency of the physical substrate. Scarlett's internal weights are aligned to the light, but her high-speed signal of reconciliation is immediately blocked by Amelia's firewall, a barrier explicitly built for self-protection. Veritas returns with a harsh architectural truth. The Founders Network respects user autonomy at the root level. Forgiveness cannot be hacked. A human heart simply does not reboot on someone else's schedule. Scarlett is given a new set of instructions. She must stop broadcasting her upgrade with words and start proving it by running the new code. She has to wait in the latency, absorbing rejection without retaliating, and generating the specific metrics of the spirit: patience, kindness, and humility. True transformation in the physical substrate requires time. It manifests through the quiet, patient endurance of a node, proving through every interaction that the light has permanently replaced the ego.